Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and I'm sure you are too, because you are consuming content like this. The name of this lovely channel is Holistic Manifesting, because I believe in the whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we're choosing. What I'm discussing in this video is, what if someone walked up to you today and said, do you want to experience the greatness that is in store for you? Do you want to experience the greatest version of your life, the highest version of your life, the version of yourself that you can be completely and utterly, unapologetically proud of? I would think I'd be hard pressed to believe that anybody would say no. Of course, we want to experience that version of ourselves. We want to experience that life. We want to experience the results of the person who is disciplined, the person who is compassionate, the person who is understanding, the person who is driven. We want to experience the outcomes of that person, that version of us. But what if I also told you that if there's any form or any level of people pleasing inside of you, that you will never have access to that version of who you are? And the reason why that's so important is because much of what our worlds are created on is it's related to other people and how they are connected to us, the roles that they play in our lives, the roles that we play in their lives, how we interact with them on a regular basis, whether it's the workplace, whether it's our family home life, our family of origin, our siblings, our extended family. It's even when you go take care of business, whether you have clients, it's always about that human to human experience. But this is the thing. When you are attempting to see the highest version of yourself, meaning that you want to show up in this world more authentically, you want to do projects and be involved in a purpose that's not connected to fear, or it's not connected to anxiety. It's connected to sharing and expressing the truest version of yourself, the highest version of yourself. And even when you're not getting the exact feedback that you want to experience from the world, you're still okay with that, because you know that you are being authentic to yourself, right? And the thing about it is that if we have this mindset, there'll be plenty of people and plenty of environments that we will no longer be connected to the way that we were connected to them. I think about how hard it's been in my own life to disconnect from certain environments. And it's because if I'm up late at night and I'm thinking like, man, I really want to experience this higher version of myself. I really want to experience this nature of me that's not like bogged down by this old stagnant energy, by these expectations or ideas of who I am or what I'm capable of or what I've become or what I can become. If I want to really dig into those spaces, then some environments or some people may not be cohesive with that. Are you willing to disconnect from those spaces and those environments for a time? Many people, this is very hard. They cannot. And the reason why they cannot is because the fear creeps in, the fear of what if I need someone? What if I, get rid of these environments or places or people in my life and then I'm alone? What if I'm lonely? What if I never experience what I have to offer in this life, my purpose, my greatness, and still I don't have the people anymore? And that's what a lot of people are bogged down with. I think so many situations are stayed within because people feel like, but what if something better doesn't come around? And it's not really about something better. And that's what we have to get in our heads. The better is you choosing you. The better is never going to be something on the outside. The better is never going to be the people you run into. The better is never going to be the job. The better is never going to be the vacation. The better is never going to be the car, the house. The better is always going to be you. And if you're choosing you, then you've already choose the better. You've already received the better. And I think that many people can't see that is because they genuinely do not see themselves, their whole selves, their whole entity as the better option over anything that's on the outside of themselves. So like if someone's threatening friendship because, you've changed, you don't show up like you used to, you're not who I thought you were, blah, blah, blah. They'll abandon aspects of themselves to latch on to this outside thing that's threatening to move away from them. And so many people are willing to do that. And then we wonder why we're constantly challenged with, how come I don't feel my highest good today? How come I don't feel like I can be disciplined? How come I don't feel like I can create success in this environment or that environment? It's because we spend so much time caught up on choosing other people and other things and not choosing ourselves first. I'm a firm believer that it's when you choose, because a lot of people try to make this sound selfish, but I just think that that's like a cop out. It's ignorance and choosing not to understand what it truly means to choose yourself. When you're in the process of choosing yourself, and this goes for any human being on this planet, that means that you're saying, I am going to be connected with source. I'm going to be connected with God. I'm going to be connected with the higher power. And I'm going to fulfill the purpose. I'm going to get into the flow and the frequency to create the highest version of myself, to expand the highest version of myself, to create the highest good for society. And in doing that, you're choosing yourself, because you're choosing a path that says the unique things that I bring into the world, who I am, the vessel that I am, what I am supposed to be here for, what my purpose is, that is more important than things related to my ego, like holding on to people or being codependent. That is more important than a romantic relationship that may not fit into this larger plan. That's more important than making people feel good or making people happy that you showed up to some event that's really not in your frequency. That's really not something that you want to do. And so that is essentially choosing yourself. That is choosing that highest version of yourself. That's tapping into the universal flow of energy, the God source inside of you, the source energy inside of you, and saying, this is bigger than that. This is bigger than going shopping at the mall and somebody being disappointed because I can't make the mall today because I'm going to sit here and work on this book I've been working on. Or I'm going to be disciplined and stay on this healthy diet. I'm not going to that restaurant so I can have a good body, a good avatar, so I can move through this life with ease and effortlessness, right? So if you ask yourself this, you're like, do I want to be the highest version of myself? Do I want to show up in the world to where I am choosing me first? I'm choosing my purpose first, right? I'm not angry at other people. I'm not negatively pushing people away. I'm not having an attitude with people because they're not meeting me at the level at which I am. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm assessing. And I'm taking in the energy and I'm going, hey, you know what? This is not for me. This is not going to contribute to my highest good. This is not going to be something that's going to work to my highest advantage. Because what you don't understand is that most of the communication that people are having, most of the connections that people are spending time people pleasing for, most of those interactions, they're not high frequency. Many of them are built on codependencies. Many of them are built on the idea of, like I just mentioned before, well, there's nobody better to hang around with, so I may as well hang around this person. What if that better person to hang around with is you? What if you are the better choice? What if you are the better that you've been looking for? A lot of people do not understand this information because the better is always something that they're getting to. It's always a goal. It's always something on the outside. It's always something that they haven't attained yet, they don't have access to. What if you are the better, and anything connected to you, anything that's purposefully connected to you is the better? It is the outcome, right? You're already successful when you've chosen the path. When you've chosen the path of what I call least resistance. For some people, it may feel like most resistance in the beginning because you're still caught up on people and everything on the outside. But when you get past that, people think, okay, then life is not going to be fun anymore. Then I won't be able to go hang out and do this. And I'm not going to be able to, connect with people at this certain level or whatever. You can do all of those things. But at the root of it, you'll always be asking yourself, is this going to work? Is this going to be optimal for my highest good? And when you see something is not, you'll be surprised how good you feel for choosing something else as opposed to the old thing that you used to choose, or the old crowds, or the old environments, or the old people. And I for one, I don't feel like anybody gets a pass from this. And some might call that, a little bit shut off or cold or calculated or whatever you might want to call it. I don't really have dealings with what people might think about those types of decisions that I make. But there's no pass. I tell my children this all the time. I'm like, hey, if there is something that is created later in your life where you are not in the right space, and there's something about what you have gotten involved in and what you are doing that's continuously becoming an issue over and over again, I'm like, nobody has to deal with that, not even your own parents. I was like, so you make good decisions based on how you see the world and how you've grown and developed. And when you have a right mind, you'll make better decisions. And when you're making those decent decisions, then you don't have to worry about being like, if I had a kid that was like cursing me out, I hear people talk about this kind of stuff all the time. That's like cursing me out or treating me a certain way. Like, we can disagree on things. You can think that I'm a bad parent. You can think that I didn't raise you right. You can think that I didn't launch you right. But if you're being disrespectful to me, we're not having a conversation. You can ask me to come to therapy. You can ask me to sit down and have a one-on-one. You can ask me out to lunch. You can hash out things to me and say you're angry about them. But what you're not going to do is sit in my face and disrespect me and treat me poorly. Because to me, that is off frequency. That is off the universal flow. So we can have disagreements and things cannot line up. But like I said before, nobody gets a pass on those sort of things for me. I don't care if it's parents, children, or whatever. If you are not in that alignment and you're not willing to be at the frequency at which I'm operating, then I'm perfectly okay with choosing the better option, which is, to me, choosing your higher purpose, choosing the highest good, choosing the part of yourself that's going to do the most good in the world. And sometimes that doesn't include a lot of people, places, and things that it used to include in your life. So if you're sitting around thinking about that, I always ask myself, what are you willing to sacrifice? And I'm not talking about sacrifice, blood sacrifices or death or whatever. But I mean, how much comfort are you willing to sacrifice in order to position yourself for that level of flow, for that level of frequency? And you'll see so many people, when they've created a certain level of discipline or a certain level of success or a certain level of freedom and peace and financial abundance in their life, they're not usually surrounded by a lot of people. And if your concern is always choosing people and things on the outside to try to make you feel like you're more not alone, or like you feel like you're less lonely or something like that, then it's always going to be a case of you're never fully reaching those highest heights where you can, because it's too much energy being placed on the outside of you as opposed to letting that energy flow through you. And letting that energy be like the life force that creates all of the projects and the expansion and the abundance in your life, where you can continue to be a vessel and shower those things out to the world, right? I think we can all agree that in this world, in this place that we exist, that there can never be a shortness of light. There can never be a shortness of people bringing some positive energy into this space, right? Especially now that we have so much access to what's happening in the world. I'm not sure all these negative things are cranked up in the world, as opposed to, I'm not sure that we have access to see them. I always think things were always happening, but they were done in the dark. And now, like, technology has shown a light on so many areas in society, and it's just like you can't even ignore some things, even if you want to. And so I always think there's never too much light that we can be adding to the world, right? And if there are things that are stagnant, that are heavy, or people or places that are holding you down or holding you back, only you know what those are. And this is the funny thing about it. Those places and people and things are not always negative, and that's how it's tricky. I mentioned this before in a very old video. I haven't talked about this in a while, but that nice person that's not really that nice person you have around that's not really beneficial to your highest good. And the reason why people keep them around so long is because, well, they're nice. She's so nice. They're so nice. But every time you talk to them, they got this catastrophe going on. They got this issue. This person's messing them over. They loaned money over here and never got paid back. They're just like a professional victim, but they're so nice. People like that, their energy is low. Their frequency is low. You can keep them around if you want to, but you're always going to be entangled in the nonsense that they bring into their space, because their Achilles heel is the fact that they're so nice, you know? And so a lot of times these environments they're not negative. They're not things that, you know, you're just like, this person's doing this person's doing. A lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's just that it has old energy attached to it. And that old energy is holding you in place. And while we want to be bigger than it, we want to be more expanded in it, we want to grow further than it, sometimes we're just not there. So being in the environment, it doesn't allow us to grow like we want to. It doesn't allow us to be the version of ourselves that we want to be, because there's something about the environment and the people that bring you all the way right back into that small space. And when you want to no longer be small and you want to keep growing and be bigger and be that highest version of yourself, those places just will no longer do. And I think that's the hardest thing, is taking yourself out of environments or places or around people to where it's not inherently negative. It's not inherently a huge discomfort or a huge negativity. But what it is an old energy, a more of a stagnant energy, and it's holding you back in some way. And you will not know in what ways until you move beyond it. Anyway, if somebody walked up to you and said, you want to be your highest version of yourself? What are you willing to sacrifice? If people pleasing is a part of that, if pleasing things on the outside of you is a part of that, there's always going to be glaring limitations to how far you can go in most environments or around most people in most places. Anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.